Simon and I are up here just to update you on what's been happening. Do you know, it's only 6 months since Ian actually finished his term of office as our vicar. And since then, the PCC's been working hard to get us to that point where we can advertise for our new vicar. Well, we've reached that point, and on Friday, the job advert went up on Pathways, which is the Church of England's recruitment website. And adverts are going out in the Church Times, the Good Book Hub, Evangelicals Now, and please tell your friends and contacts that the job is open for applications. Now, 6 months may seem quite a long time to write a job advert, but being a vicar is no ordinary job. It's a calling, and we're just recruiting someone for a job, but actually our vicar is looking for the job, the calling that he's been called to. And so we're helping someone to discern whether God's calling them to St. Bart's. And they need to know what sort of church we are, what our values are, who we are, what we do on Sundays and in our midweek groups, where we are and where we'd like to grow as a church together, and what sort of qualities we're looking for in a new vicar. And you know, those are the headings that we have in the parish profile, which describes who we are, that the PCC has been working on this last 6 months. We worked on that not just in a room as a writing group, but the PCC had an away day together late last year. You will have contributed either through the web forms or emails or in groups after church or in fellowship groups or over lunch. And all of that consultation has gone together to produce that parish profile. And throughout, prayer has been vital, and it's central because we as a church and our new vicar are both seeking to put God first. We're both seeking to be led by him, and we wish to be led by the vicar that God has chosen. And our vicar will wish to lead the church that God has called him to serve. So a verse that's been quite key to us is from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. So this isn't just a process of leaning to our own understanding. We are acknowledging the Lord and asking him to direct us and the new vicar to come together to lead Bart's in the future. Simon, what happens next?
Thank you, John. I didn't know John terribly well until we both became church wardens together, but I'd like to think we got on rather well, actually. So I'm sorry about your eye, John. I didn't know about that till today. Lots to give thanks for, really, because I know so many of us have been praying, and John and I have been encouraged by many of the messages we've received from you saying that you're praying and encouraging us. So thank you so much for that. And really to be at that point where we've agreed a parish profile, we're now advertising nationally, actually is a huge, the culmination of a huge amount of work. But there is more to come. So I'll just say a little bit more about the next steps. So we're now advertising. Those adverts close on the 11th of April. So do please be praying for the Lord to be leading the right people to apply to that advert. And we then have an interview panel that meets to sift those applicants. And the interview panel consists of the bishop, Archdeacon Adrian, who many of us will know, the representatives of our patron, which is the Simeon Trustees, and then John and I as the church, the parish representatives on that panel. That's the panel that does both the sifting and the interviewing. But it does it very much against the parish profile that we have all developed together. And so that really is the objective measure against which we ask all our questions, we do all our thinking and praying in seeking the person that the Lord is pointing us to. So the panel meets and sifts the applicants, and then in May we will have 2 days when the candidates will be with us in the Bath area. Firstly, they'll come for a day to visit the church, to visit the parish, to see the vicarage, and actually there'll be opportunity to meet with church members and perhaps people, the church staff, perhaps people who are part of church groups that go on through the week. And that's really important for them to get to know us, and as John was saying, decide whether the Lord is indeed calling them to lead us. So that's very much the purpose of the first day that they're with us, that they can discern how the Lord is directing them. And then the second day will be for the interviews with the interview panel, where, as I say, we'll really be guided by the parish profile in the questions we ask, the discussions we have with the candidates. Now, we're hoping that we will have our next vicar able to start from September. And if you look at those who are perhaps carrying more of our leading and our preaching and the PCC itself, you'll sense a kind of very much a desire for that, a sense of a relief perhaps when our vicar arrives. But it's important actually that we realise that the interview panel can only appoint somebody if it agrees together that the right person has been identified in relation to the parish profile. So we must trust the Lord and we must pray that the Lord will be directing the right applicants and the right process. And it does mean also that we need to trust the Lord's timing. You know, we would love to have a new vicar in place for September, but we have to trust him in that to provide for us. So that's the timetable, and I hope that just helps you to think about how to be praying, how to be looking out for others as we go through the remains of this vacancy. And perhaps let's just have a quick show of hands, if you wouldn't mind. Those members of the PCC, would you mind just putting your hands up very quickly, a little wave? So do please be continuing to talk to members of the PCC. Talk to John and I if you want to know how things are going, if you've got questions, or perhaps most importantly, if you want to know how to pray, if you want to know how you can be encouraging, please do feel free to talk to us and think about that together further. So thank you, everyone. That's our update.
Thanks, Simon.